Friends of Mundo Maldini, I'm still in Barcelona. Tonight for the Europa League and tomorrow's Champions League and Europa League draw. We're going to have a video of the Manchester City versus Bruges match. The answer is yes. You can already watch the full match. We have the videos from yesterday, me from Montjuic, Barca, Atalanta, the video Juan Rebeles made of Atletico de Madrid in Salzburg, the video David Dieguez made of the Real Madrid match in Brest, and we're going to analyze that too. I watched the full match calmly this morning to analyze Manchester City against Bruges. David Dieguez from the Real Madrid game in Brest, and of course we are going to analyze it as well. He was able to watch the entire game this morning calmly to analyze what this exercise in survival was like, because it was an exercise in survival for Manchester City against Bruges. Come back in the second half, City qualified. We're going to analyze quite a bit about the match, including some key decisions by Pep Guardiola that were crucial in the second half, like the positional changes of Foden and Bernardo Silva. We've taken screenshots from the match because there's so much to discuss about this. Manchester City 3, Bruges 1. Manchester City was on the verge of being eliminated from the Champions League, but in the end, they managed to survive in this Champions League, and we'll see what happens from now on. All right, let's go. All right, let's go. Friends of Mundo Maldini. Thanks to Hotel Nuba for giving me this huge space, all to myself, so I can be here calmly making the video for all of you. Manchester City 3, Club Brugge 1. There is something that has been rarely said but is important, and that is the fact that PSG were winning so comfortably in Stuttgart took the drama out of the game, because logically Brugge, they were already 0-3. There are times when they are 0-3, and Brugge know that they are qualified even if they lose, which is what happened in the end, but Brugas started off winning. They made things very difficult for Manchester City, and at halftime, of course, Manchester City were in an obvious problem because they had to come back in a game. Not even a draw would have been good enough for them, but in the end they came back. We are going to analyze quite a few things from the game. Here are the 11. City with Matheus Nunes, who I want to talk about a lot in this video, with Stouwel. Well, these are in goal: Stouwel, Sakanji and Gvardiol, Foden, Gundogan, Kovacic and Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne and Erling Haaland. This is the starting 11 with Foden on the left and Bernardo Silva on the right. Haaland, De Bruyne, Bruges was defensive with a counter-attack. The first goal came from a counter-attack with 6 players on the right, including De Kuyper, Megiele, Ordóñez and Mignolet in goal. Onyedika was in the double pivot with Yashari and Taibi on the right. De Scholis, Vanaken and Ferran Jutla contributed. Manchester City won and qualified to face Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. Either opponent will be tough. Guardiola's team was in crisis. Here is a screenshot of Scholis, Vanaken and Ferran Jutla, who did some very interesting things in the match, as did Ferran Jutla. But anyway, Manchester City won, City qualified, and will play against either Bayern Munich or Real Madrid. Many of you will think, well, what a playoff match this is going to be. They were definitely eliminated. Either of the two opponents will be extremely tough, but Pep Guardiola's team was in a tremendous crisis. Well, I want to comment on quite a few things. First, I've mentioned to you friends of Mundo Maldini. Here you can see a screenshot from the match, watching how here you can clearly see it. These are the first minutes of the match. Here you have it, minute 6, where Phil Foden is playing on the left and Bernardo Silva is quite close to the right wing. This was really how the match was going to unfold, with City dominating a lot with Akanji and Kovacic, who had a great game by the way, and Gundogan ahead, who was quite poor. Stones was playing in a position almost near the attacking midfield, and Haaland was up front. But above all, I also want to highlight Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva sticking to the right wing, and Phil Foden on the left, which is how the team started. That's how the team started. I think Bernardo Silva's position was key, the change in Bernardo Silva's position. And let's just take a look here exactly. Now we're right looking at the performance map of Phil Foden. Foden started playing close to the left wing. There you have it, take a look. All the actions that Phil Foden makes on the left wing. He participated very little on that side, but then at halftime Guardiola made a key change for me, which was to put Savinho on the left side. He ended up scoring the 3-1 goal, which brought some calm. What he did was move Foden to the right, and as you can see, Foden obviously participates much more on the right side. He changed Bernardo Silva's position, and that was crucial because Bernardo Silva played more centrally in the second half, getting involved a lot in ball circulation and in the creation of plays. Was key. We're still looking at the first half with Phil Foden on the left and Bernardo Silva on the right. Here you can clearly see them, one on the left and the other on the right, with Bernardo Silva sticking close to the right wing. We see several screenshots in which you are seeing it. Here we have another one. Here Bernardo Silva almost goes out of frame. Bernardo Silva very close to the right side, very far from the creative area, let's say. Phil Foden on the left, and then inside, Gundogan, who hardly participates, Stones, etc., etc. But what happens is that in the second half, and we're also seeing another screenshot here, you can clearly see the second half at around 75 minutes. There you have it, where Bernardo Silva is now playing more centrally, and Phil Foden is playing on the right. Matheus Nunes is playing much more like a wing-back because they came out with three. Here you have Guardiola, Kahn, and Stones coming out with three wing-backs, with Matheus Nunes trying to stretch the field a bit on the right. But look at Bernardo Silva playing inside, participating, directing the team, and helping a lot with that creative capacity in the midfield. And I think that gave him... Here you have another example. Look how he moves to the midfield area, that zone where Akanji is going to give him that pass. And that was key. For me, Bernardo Silva's second half was key. Absolutely crucial was Bernardo Silva's second half and the change in position of Phil Foden, who, in my opinion, didn't have a good game at all. Not a great game by any means. For me, the best player for City was Guardiola. Guardiola's performance was spectacular. Friends of Mundo Maldini, Guardiola's performance was spectacular. He doesn't score the goal himself because it's an own goal by Ordóñez, but he made the back pass in that goal, which was absolutely key, the 2-1. Gvardiol has grown a lot in the last few matches. And his ability that Guardiola has to generate a lot in the midfield is absolutely fundamental. I think that's what can give a lot to Manchester City, which is obviously still struggling. With Rodri's absence, they continue to have huge problems, but I think Guardiola's performance was key. Let's see some more details. I want us to see some aspects of some players it seems key. We have seen what Matheus Nunes did. Look at Matheus Nunes, how in the first half he participated a lot, a little bit more on the inside, and in the second half much more attached to the right wing. What you're seeing are the actions of a Matheus Nunes who, I have to say, doesn't convince me. I have to say, friends of Mundo Maldini, he doesn't convince me. Let's take a look at more things, like Guardiola, the influence of Guardiola in the midfield. It's great. What you're seeing here is Guardiola. Notice how he's always close to the left side, but moving inside. The number of passes he makes inward, logically, and how important that was. And another very important detail is John Stones. John Stones, if Guardiola can bring back the version of John Stones that we saw in the year they won the Champions League, for example, against Inter Milan, he could be one of the solutions for Rodri's absence. Rodri's absence is crucial, but one of the solutions for Rodri's absence could be, look at all the influence that John Stones had in the midfield. He is a footballer who has a great ability to handle the ball in that position. Look at the first half. Of course, logically, Manchester City dominated the match. Almost by crushing. Later we will see more data. But look at where John Stones was in the first half and in the second half. In the second half, when the score is already 2-1, aside from providing the assist for the goal to Sabino, with the score at 2-1, he drops much deeper. And here we see how much further back John Stones goes in the second half. Kovac's influence is also fundamental. Kovac had a great game. Kovac's injury plus Rodri's injury made things very difficult for the team. Kovac is in good form again. He scores a very good goal. Very Kovac-like in the last few games. Kovac has been very good against Ipswich, against Chelsea, and yesterday against Bruges. The goal is pure Kovacic. It's a drive inside, and in the end he takes that shot from the edge of the box to score the equaliser, which was essential for Manchester City to relieve some pressure off the team. Of course, earlier Stones had a shot that just went wide. But what Kovacic is doing right now in the season is absolutely key. Guardiola, look, 99 actions, of which 90 are correct, 91% of Kovacic's actions. They were won, 91%, 90 out of 99, that's incredible. 98% of accurate passes. A spectacular game from Kovacic in terms of creation and direction. Plus scoring a goal. Great game from Kovacic. And here you have the actions on the field that Kovacic made. For me, the man of the match was Guardiola, in my opinion, but Kovacic also had a fantastic game. Fantastic game from Kovacic. The sight was very superior. You just have to look here. You're also seeing, for example, the actions on the field. Friends of Mundo Maldini, it's clear that Ederson is safe. The whole team is involved. Here you have the average positions of everyone. They're all in the opponent's half. Absolutely everyone is in the opponent's half, while Bruges is just sitting back the whole match. It's true that there comes a moment, as I mentioned earlier, when they know the team is qualified, even if they lose, and that makes them drop their guard quite a bit in any case. But here you also have what Manchester City's ball circulation looks like. A lot of circulation through the middle. Here you have it, a ton of circulation through the middle, while Bruges, as you can see now, Bruges has such thin lines in their passing, practically no ball circulation at all. Because in the end, the match was logically a pretty overwhelming superiority of Manchester City. That's the reality. if we're wrapping up, friends of Mundo Maldini, let's look at details like, for example, ball possession, all of this that we always like to discuss. Well, here you have it, right? Let's take a look at the cold, hard numbers from the match, as I like to say. In terms of ball possession, it was 76-24. Here it is for Manchester City. As for shots, City had 17 shots compared to Bruges' 11, but only 6 were on target. That's something City needs to improve on because Linz Haaland wasn't particularly great either, I have to say. But the superiority of City was clearly overwhelming. And look at this. 17 possessions of over 45 seconds that Bruges allowed Manchester City. That obviously makes a huge difference, a massive difference. Anyway, now we'll see the draw tomorrow, but I think it's a rival that nobody would want to face at all. It's a City on the rise, in my opinion, and now that the knockout stages are coming up, watch out for City because I think they're one of the favorites in the Champions League. That's how it is. They were about to be knocked out, but for me, even without Rodri, their squad is improving, and they're one of the contenders. That's the reality. The thing is, they're going to have Bayern or Real Madrid. We'll see what happens from that point on. A hug. Bye.